Hi everyone, Bowen from Enhanced Asset Management. Just back with a quick update today on your portfolio, in particular two stocks, AUB Group and Qoria, which is a new addition to the portfolio. So in our last update, we touched on the takeover offer for AUB. Unfortunately, that hasn't eventuated and the takeover discussions have now ceased. AUB are pretty confident that $45 per share appropriately valued the business, and no deal was reached, which is unfortunate. It would have been nice to see this one get taken over at $45, which was still a pretty significant premium to where AUB was trading. But unfortunately, it didn't quite eventuate. AUB did come out and reaffirm their guidance, and they're going to be really focused on growing their organic earnings, and they're expecting to grow next year at 7.4 to 13.4%. And it remains a core holding within the portfolio. So we're pretty confident with where it's positioned now, and we can see some pretty strong upside here. And as we spoke about in the initial video, talking about the takeover offer, this has every chance of falling back towards where it was trading before, if the takeover offer did fall through, and that has, unfortunately. But as we said, now there's pretty solid valuation support here, and we're pretty confident with the business moving forward. And we can see a good 15-20% upside back towards that $37 mark from here. Now onto a new position in the portfolio that we've purchased over the last week or two, and that is a business called Qoria. So Qoria is a global leader in student cybersecurity and online safety, particularly for children. They provide online safety tools for schools, parents, and governments, and they currently have a market of around 8 million parents that use Qoria's services, and they operate in over 32,000 schools in over 100 countries. They operate a really high recurring revenue software as a service model with really strong contract visibility, and they're positioned in a great segment at the moment. So I've just got a little snippet up on screen just to show the good work that Qoria do for society. And you can see that over the time that they operate within schools, you can see that the bullying incidents online come down pretty significantly, and that's really important for the environment we're in at the moment. So the investment thesis on this one is there's some really strong structural growth tailwinds in online safety. I mean, we've just had the ban come in for under 16s on social media, and parents are wanting greater control over what their kids are accessing, and knowing who they're talking to, what they're talking about, and making sure that they're safe online. As online access becomes a pretty prevalent market for kids growing up. So the increasing global demand from schools and governments, as we just spoke about, with the social media ban, and particularly with a lot of online learning now happening in schools, it's super important that the kids are safe online. This business has extremely attractive recurring revenue, and their margins are consistently improving. So they're guiding for a further 20% of annual recurring revenue growth in FY26, which will be a similar figure in EBITDA. They have extremely strong customer retention, and they've got long-term contracts in place with governments and schools. They have a really clear pathway to profitability through the scale of that top line. They're a pretty fixed cost business, and we can see, as that top line grows, the profitability of this business is going to grow with it. So I've just got some key statistics up on screen here for you just to have a look at on Qoria. So you can see how their business has grown over the last few years, particularly growth into some new segments. So the consumer segment is a new segment for business for Qoria back in FY23, and you can see the strong growth, particularly in the US, as online safety becomes more prevalent over there. And I think that the slide on the right shows a really important factor of their business is that they can upsell a lot of their other products once they've already got a customer locked in. So you can see the growth in their consumer market there, as well as different segments of the business growing at different rates, which they're all moving in the right direction. And Qoria's business model is really entrenched in schools, governments, parents' lives, and they're pretty good at upselling some other products to keep their user base growing. And this slide just shows what we were speaking about before. That top line continues to grow, and they don't need to spend a super strong amount more to grow that EBITDA. So the margin is expanding over time, and we will see with the growth of that top line, the EBITDA profitability is expected to continue particularly throughout FY26 and FY27 as they've hit that inflection point now in FY24 where they've hit EBITDA profitability, and we expect some really strong growth over the next couple of years. So our valuation on Qoria, we've got it sitting at about 85 cents. It's currently trading at about 60 cents. So, that's 40% upside that we can see from our position at the moment. And the pullback in recent months has given us a really attractive entry point for this one. We've followed it for a while. We've owned it in the concentrated Australian equity portfolio. And we've seen, the re-rate of growth stocks over the past couple of months has given us a really attractive entry point to get into this one. As I spoke about just before, we've seen that re-rate now. So the stock was trading extremely well. They had an upgrade to their earnings guidance back in October. And, we saw that stock trading around 90 cents, reaching an all-time high. It's since pulled back pretty considerably, and we've been watching it pretty closely. And we think, now at about that 58 to 59 cents, that entry point is extremely attractive. And we expect this one to tick back up over time. And especially as more, contracts are announced and they win some more customers and we see that top line growing consistently, we can see this one, performing extremely well for your portfolios. As always, this is general information only. If you do require any further financial advice, please reach out to your licensed advisor. This will probably be the last update before Christmas, so we hope you all have a safe and happy holidays, and we look forward to providing more updates in the new year. We'll keep on track of the portfolios, make sure things are ticking along well, and we hope everyone has a safe and happy Christmas and New Year. Thanks all.